I have a prick living in my head that talks to me all the time. It will say, you're not a very good dad, you're not a very good husband, why are you bothering to do this, you've got nothing interesting to say. At some point somebody's going to tap you on the shoulder and go, we all know. I was thinking about taking my own life, like, regularly, and I'd fantasize about it. You know, I'd like think about how I was going to do it. I'd think about how easy it would be after that. But what I would say is my opinion of myself was and continues to be something I really struggle with in terms of it being absolutely like rock bottom. Like I just have I have a prick living in my head that talks to me all the time. Do you know what I mean? And that is something that to this day, as I'm sitting with you now, I have to contend with. Do you know what I mean? I've got like this inner voice that is horrific. Do you know what I mean? It's like a horrible, horrible person that I've got, like, you know, this horrible voice in my head that just, like, regardless of whatever external evidence there is or whatever else happens, I will always have this kind of, this inner belief that I'm sort of a bit shitty. Do you know what I mean? Like, or I can't do this, or I'm not good at this, or you're getting away with this, or whatever. Imposter syndrome, I guess, is an oversimplified way of describing it. But yeah, it's something I've sort of had to, not had to deal with, something I've dealt with for as long as I can remember, really.
I got chills all over my body then, and I don't really know. Do you know why it is? It's because it really breaks my heart to hear that.
Right.
And it genuinely does, like, and it also, I think, people don't understand the privilege that they have if they don't have that in their head.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's such a difficult thing because if you don't have that, you don't understand why somebody would have that. You go, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Snap out of it. Do you know what I mean?
And
like,
you look at your life and go, oh, successful comedian.
Yeah.
What do you mean,
Yeah. 100%. You sort of go, and it's not that I'm unhappy with my lot. It's not that I want anything it's nothing external. I don't need anything external to change. I just have that. You just have that. You know, I've just always mentally had that. And yeah, like what you just said, I totally relate to, because sometimes you don't tell people because you just sort of go, they're going to go, what are you on about? Like, what are you talking about? But people that get it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I do think, you know, it's something that I've kind of got involved with as much as I possibly can, is to sort of encourage those, you know, those kind of mental health conversations and stuff. I think we've become much more open about it than we were in the past. But when I was at uni, I went to see a therapist that, like, they had like these free therapy sessions for students, and I went along to one and I did like a whole course or whatever. I remember telling my mum about it and she like freaked out, you know, because she said, what do you mean you're going to a therapist? Like, what, is there something wrong with your head? You know, like, she like really like, because to her mind, does that mean you're mad? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, she didn't have that same, it's like her understanding of it. Now it's completely, you know, she's completely, you know, her attitude towards it's very different. But yeah, it's just something you have to contend with. And like at the moment, as I'm talking to you now, I've got coping mechanisms and I'm sort of on top of it, but I'm always sort of this close, you know, it can be something really little, like I don't exercise for a bit, or I don't hydrate properly for a few days, or I don't get enough sleep, I'm back. Do you know what I mean? Like, I go dark. I just go dark in my head, you know, like you kind of, the voice comes back, but you know what I mean? You start getting down on yourself, and you have to be on top of all of those things. Like,
what does the voice say?
It will say, you're not a very good dad, you're not a very good husband. If I come to do this podcast, it will go, why are you bothering to do this? You've got nothing interesting to say. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to try and get away with this. At some point, somebody's going to tap you on the shoulder and go, we all know. If you leave quietly, we won't say it. You know, that kind of thing. You know, I remember like doing a run of, like, I was particularly busy. I had a run of about 6 panel shows, like different studio things over 2 weeks. And I was in a really bad place. And I turned up to each one of them with the steadfast belief that I was shit at this, right? And I've got to try and get away with it as much as I possibly, you know, like I was just in a bad place. I turned up and I'd be sitting there and, like, you know, to be a comedian, you've got to be loose and like chilled out and relaxed. And it's almost like being you know, I've read a lot about it, about being in a flow state, you know, being in the pocket, whatever you want to call it. You can't be in the pocket if you've got a voice in your head going, you're crap at this. So it's like, yeah, you just go through periods of it, I suppose.
Have you ever developed a perspective or an opinion where that voice comes from, or why you have it and someone else might not?
No, I don't. I don't know. Is it, like, why have I got it and other people haven't? I don't know. It's something I've thought about, particularly when I'm talking to people that don't have it or don't understand why I've got it. And I don't know. I don't know if it's like, I mean, I'm being super pseudo psychologist here, but I sort of think that, when I said to you about, I sort of felt like everything was against us.
Yeah.
And you sort of go through this period of like, during your formative years, of a lot of things going badly or going negatively. You then start to see that as your default. And then if something goes right or if something's going well, then that is against type, or that is against, you're supposed to have shit happen to you. You're like, you're bad stuff supposed to, or you're supposed to have bad experiences. And so then maybe that's and I'm just freestyling here, but maybe that kind of gets hardwired into you, so that even if like you have positive things, you kind of you kind of don't accept them. And I also think of like, sometimes I've reflected on times when I was a kid, like really young, and done things that I would consider to be selfish. Or I remember like this, like, I have a vivid memory of being horrible to my brother. And the voice goes to me, that's you at your core. Like when you're being nice, that is conditioning. But that is what, I've had that thought where that you fundamentally is that person, that nasty person. But what you've done is like, social conditioning has taught you that, you allow your brain to go down those thought pathways,
What period of your life was the most difficult?
In terms of mental health?
Yeah.
I would say my late teens into my kind of early 20s was really challenging, because I remember I've got loads of memories of reacting really badly to things, like irrationally, like over the top reactions. Like, I remember like I didn't really do very well in my A-levels because I was just like pissing about. And then when the A-level results came, I just thought, this is the end. I can't carry on with my life. I really was like, I can't. I was thinking about taking my own life like regularly. There's loads of times that, there's loads of times during that period when I thought about it. I did think about it a lot, and I'd fantasize about it. I'd like think about how I was going to do it. I'd think about how easy it would be after that. I think about the repercussions after I'm gone. I'd spend time thinking about it, so and that was kind of the toughest time. And then as I kind of got older, it sort of I still had the same issues, but I started to kind of be able to deal with them a bit more effectively. And like, I managed to shut off the voice. There'd be long times I don't have any voice at all, like it's just gone. And then occasionally sort of go dark again. But yeah, that was probably the most challenging time.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.